Christian, on that Jokic to Russ turnover at the end, did Jokic get kind of tangled up there on the DHO as he went to pass that?
No, that was my fault. I wanted to get out of his way. Wanted to either get to the corner or push me through. That's what I was thinking in my head. But he wanted to play DHO, and he was telling me that. So I was too late, and then when I went to step up, I just got in his way. So that's my turnover, and I just got to be better in that spot. And like I said, I was thinking get out of his way. Let him go score two. I know he's an automatic two, especially because they haven't been doubling him, the last couple of plays. So I was just thinking get out of his way. I put him in a bad spot, and that's my fault.
I would imagine that you haven't had very many four-game losing streaks in your basketball career. How do you use that as motivation and fuel to right the ship?
I didn't think about that, but I don't know that I have. I don't know that I have. But we can't let 4 bad games or maybe a bad month or so of basketball throw off that we've been in the 3 seed pretty much the whole year, and it's a tough conference, and we put ourselves in a good spot until now, so we can't let a year's worth of hard work kind of go out the window or slip. We have 3 games. If we go 3-1 in this last 4, it doesn't guarantee you any spot, but I think it puts us in an okay position. You have a chance, you may be at home court, maybe you're the 5 seed, whatever you are. But we get to the playoffs, and I know this team can, compete with anybody. But we got to go in there with momentum. You got to go in there playing the right way. We got to find a way to find some toughness, a little grit these last 3 games. Banged up, everybody in the league's banged up. There's no excuse. But we got to get back to who we are, and we got to find ourselves in these last 3 games. And like I said, it's not, it's not over or anything like that. But we do got to get some momentum going into the playoffs.
In your mind, who are you?
We got to get back to playing tough. That's what I'm saying. We got to find our toughness. We got to, play Nuggets basketball, play better defense, and that's what it's been. And I know that in the past years we've had that problem too, but right now it's too much. We got to get back to who we are on defense. That starts with me. That starts with my communication. That starts with me setting the tone, my physicality. So I got to be better. So I'll take the blame for that. And like I said, the turnover late today was me. So I got to be better in these last 3 games. I know I will be better. I know that we will be better in these last 3 games. We're going to get 3 in a row, and we're going to go in the playoffs with good rhythm.
What's the biggest challenge that the lineup is so different game after game?
I don't think that's it's not an excuse. We got guys out there that can play. That starting 5 we had today is a great starting 5, and we're confident in every single player that's out there. We know what those guys can do. Obviously, we all got to help Yoke. We got to be better. We got to be better around him. You see what he's doing every single night. We got to be better for him, and a lot of that is taking the load off of him on defense. Obviously tonight he was so great with his levels on Tyrese, and we got to help him. We got to be better defensively, and once we get stops, we know we can score with anybody. We've always done that, but we got to get back to getting stops, playing tough, and that starts with me. It starts with my physicality. It starts with my mentality. These last 3 games.
Coach Rowland has talked about the urgency of the situation with the play-in.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the locker room feels that urgency?
Yeah, we do. We know where we're at. The coaches do a really good job of, telling us where we're at. They have all year. Like I said, I think that a few games ago we would have looked and been like, man, we're in a great spot. Before the game today, we're like we control our own destiny, to get to where we want to be, where we kind of fought all year to be. And the coaches, like I said, have told us that all year. They've done a really good job of putting emphasis on, hey, this matters, and this is where we need to be. These are the games we need to win. So the locker room knows. And that's on me to make sure that we're ready, before we run out, that we're ready when we step on the court, that throughout the game somebody's got to talk to them, and that's got to be me.
Christian, you guys were down 10 middle of the 4th quarter. You score 7 straight points. Does a stretch like that boost your confidence at all?
Yeah. At the time, it just wasn't enough. It shouldn't take that. It shouldn't take a late burst like that. Especially when we've had to leave for most of the game. It felt like we were in control. We let it slip. We get it back. They go up. It can't be that. We're at home. This is our home court. We got to be better here. We got to be better defensively. And that team scores a lot of points, and we knew that coming in. We had a great first quarter. and we had a great first quarter against the Warriors. We haven't been great after that, and we got to be more consistent. And we got to talk more, and we're going to do that the last 3 games. And we're going to go into the playoffs with momentum, and we're going to be really good from there too.
On the one hand, defensively, you guys seem to keep having the same problems, but on the other hand, it seems like if you fix one thing, another thing breaks. What is it that this team needs in order to get itself right defensively? Is it scheme? Is it messaging? Is it communication?
No, it's me. I think it's me. I think I got to communicate better. I got to talk better. The coaches put us in good spots. They make sure they're telling us where we're at, what we're doing. We just got to execute on the court better. It's the guys that are on the court. We got to communicate with each other, to each other before the game starts, when the game's playing. We just got to be better communicating, and at times we're really good at it. Like I said, the first quarter we knew we were urgent. We knew how much the game mattered today, and it felt like we let it slip. And that's a player problem. That's my fault for not making sure we're locked in throughout the whole game, not just the first quarter. And we'll be better.
How can adversity like this end up helping you guys?
You don't want that at this time of the year. I do know that, and this is no excuse. I know that we didn't play great basketball at this time. I think my first year, maybe we didn't play great basketball this time. My second year either, and that's not where you want to be. But this isn't the same team as those teams. This conference is not the same conference, as a couple years ago maybe. And we need to be ready. We need to be ready at all times. You don't want to try to flip the switch. And I know how good our guys are. I know how good Jokic is. I know how good Jamal is, and Mike and Aaron. Those guys have been there. They've won championships. They've done it. And they can flip that switch. I know how good they are. But you don't want to be a team that flips. Have to flip the switch. And like I said, I know we're capable. But I need to be better at making sure we're consistent. And that's on players. That's on communication. That's we just need to be better as leaders on the court, and like I said, you don't want to go through that adversity at this time. But like I said, if we win these last 3 games and take one game at a time, we take care of business going into the playoffs. I think that maybe this setback could be good for us if we use it in the right way.
You have to kind of mentally approach these 3 as playoff games, just given the stakes of where you're at.
Well, we said that today. We were approaching it as, it's playoff time. It's not. And maybe in the last couple of years we could kind of coast a little bit. Not this year. It's playoff time now. We got to approach these last 3. We said last 4, but these last 3 you have to approach as playoff games. You got to win them. You don't want to slip and have to hope other teams lose. We got to win these last 3, and yeah, like you said, we got to approach them like they're playoff games and play with the right urgency, play with the right mentality, come in with a tougher mindset, with a hit first mindset, and it can't just be the first quarter. We haven't played good first quarters all year. Then we played a couple good first quarters last couple games, then we let it slip. We just got to be better the whole game. We got to be more consistent. And I hope that maybe we use this in the right way, and we find a little momentum, we find a little toughness, and just get to the playoffs where we need to be, put ourselves in a good spot. And like I said, I know this team is talented enough to compete with anybody.
One more.
Do you guys, so much of fly around mentality defensively is believing that the guy behind you is going to be there? Do you guys have the faith and the consistency that everybody's going to be behind you when it comes to flying around defensively?
I think we've done it in spurts this year. I think we've had really good possessions, really good plays, and we'll show them in film. This is what it looks like. So we've done it. I do have faith that the guys can do it, and like I said, I don't want to be a team that has to flip the switch to do it. In the playoffs, and that's not really how that works. You need to be consistent with it, but I do have faith in all the guys, that whoever's on the court, that we know what we're supposed to do. We know what spots to be in. Have we done it great this year? No. Like I said, that is my fault. But I do have faith, and I have every player on our team. I have faith that we know what we're doing, that we can fly around, and we do have the personnel to do it. I know we have the personnel. I know how talented we are. And we're going to get there. Like I said, these last 3, we got to lock it in, have that fly-around mentality, have, second and third efforts, do those things the right way, get back to being who we are, and, set that tone, I think, going into the playoffs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.